It's a great pleasure to be with you, and I'm very inspired by your life and by your struggles, which brought meaningfulness to your life. And I'm very honored and grateful to spend this evening with you. And
Thank
the author whom you're referring to of Journey Home, Radhanath Swami, is one of my teachers.
Is he really one of your teachers? That is wonderful. It must be such an honor to learn from such a holy and such a gentle person. That book, The Journey Home, inspired me so much in my life. I have also read Chant and Be Happy as well by the founder of ISKCON as well, His Divine Grace. I've read that, and I've recently obtained the Gita itself to read so that I can understand truly from the source as well. So it's a work in progress, but it's going very well. And I am also very honored to be talking with you today as well. So I would like to begin, my friend, for this episode, and I will say for our audience as well that this is episode 512 of the Simply Inspired podcast. So it's definitely been a wonderful journey so far, a long journey, and I appreciate all of the support from our followers. And today's guest, Ananta Bhagavan Das, hopefully I'm pronouncing the correct way,
Yes.
obviously ISKCON member and somebody who has a positive impact on the lives of so many people through spreading God's word. And that is why we are creating this talk. And my friend, I would like to begin, if it's okay with you, please, to find out a little bit about why you personally chose this path in terms of how you originally became involved in this organization and why you've chosen this path. I would like to go back and just talk about maybe a time in your life when you were spiritually searching or when you were looking for answers and how you came to find those answers in the work you're doing now. May we begin by talking a little bit about this topic so that people who are hearing this for the first time they can know you
Yes.
really.
Yes. So when I was 18 years old, I was pursuing my graduation. I was pursuing my engineering from one of the reputed institutes in India. It is called as National Institute of Technology, Jamshedpur. So I got into engineering when I was 17, and I was pursuing it. And I was in my second year of my BTech, Bachelor of Technology. So, and then I was pursuing in computer science. At that time, I came in touch with the practitioners of spirituality. And yes, I had a deep uh, search for spirituality, and I was deeply intrigued by the spiritual truths, and I was searching for it. And at that time, I came in touch with the practitioners of spirituality. So they gave me a message of Bhagavad Gita. So I got deeply inspired by the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. So that is to begin with. And then I all the more got deeply inspired by the message of Swami Prabhupada, the founder of ISKCON, whom you have been speaking about. Swami Prabhupada, when he was 70 years old, he left Calcutta from this very place, and he traveled all the way to New York to start a spiritual organization, spiritual revolution, the Bhakti movement. He got this instruction way back in 1922 when he was just 26 years old, but he didn't have any resources to uh, to do that, to follow his calling. So he got that instruction from his spiritual master, from his guru, and he has been trying throughout his life. He had been trying. So when he was 69, 70 years old, it was in 1965. So he didn't have anything in his pocket. He had just 40 rupees. That's about in today's currency, it's about $0.5. So he had just 40 rupees in his pocket. With that, he got a free cargo ship ticket. So he boarded a cargo ship and he traveled via ocean to New York. He got down in New York and he was not knowing whether to go right or go left. And when he was on the ship, he had two massive heart attacks. And when he had two massive heart attacks, he prayed to God, whom we call as Krishna. So he prayed to God. He said that, my dear Lord, I am here to go and become your instrument of compassion. If I get one more heart attack, probably I may not live. So if you feel that I should live and spread this message all over the world, kindly give me that strength. And God being kind upon him, he saved him. And he had dreamt, he had a vision that God personally came in all of his forms, different forms, and personally sailed the ship along across the ocean. So he reached New York, and then in a year or so, he has started this revolution of bhakti, and then now it's a household word every day, everywhere. So I have been inspired by these teachings of Prabhupada and his life. So I thought a man who was 70 years old, he didn't have any resources, he didn't have any followers. When he reached New York, he doesn't know, he was not knowing whether to turn left or right. And at this age, he could do something. Now I'm 19. I was 18, 19 at that time. Now I'm young. I may not have any resources right now, but then the biggest resource, I'm young. So I have this resource. So why not play my part in becoming an instrument of compassion, of Lord's compassion? Bhagavad Gita, the word Bhagavad Gita means the song of God. So it's a love message of which is given by Krishna to the whole world. Krishna says, Aham Bija Pradapita, I am the father, seed-giving father for all living entities. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Manmana Bhav Mad Bhakta Vadyaji Mam Namaskuru. Remember me, always become my, always worship me. He says, uh, Nimitta Matram Bhava Sabhisachi, which means become my instrument, Arjuna. So he wants us to be his instruments. He wants us to remember him. He wants us to surrender towards him. This is the teaching which is spoken across all religions, irrespective of whatever religion it may be. Even if you, even Muslims, the word Islam means surrender. One of the 10 commandments in Bible, it is love thy neighbor as thyself. Love others as your own self. So this is the message of compassion, which is there across all religions. So Bhagavad Gita, I got attracted towards Bhagavad Gita, and I felt that I should play my role, and and it takes sadhana to imbibe the teachings of Bhagavad Gita, and it takes some service to offer those teachings to everyone. So, okay, there are two ways by which we can do it. We can do it full time, or we can also pursue our academics, pursue our business and all that. But then if we can do it full time, it's a great service. And that's how I got deeply inspired. So I joined monastery when I was 23. And last 16 years, I have been in the monastery. Now I'm 39. So, and I have been practicing these teachings of Bhagavad Gita since I was 18.
Wow. What a remarkable life to live and to be of service, to be an instrument of God, of Krishna, as you were saying. And this story, yes, about Swami Prabhupada, am I saying it the correct way? This story I have
Prabhupada. Yeah.
Prabhupada. Okay. This story, I have heard it about the coming over on the ship and how he started chanting in a park and people heard it. You know, he had nothing. And it's so inspiring. I actually recently printed a picture of him that I keep in my room because every day I wake up, I think, okay, I can have faith like this. Any challenges I face is very small compared to what he was facing and how God guided him. So there's a little story for you there. But okay, so 16 years, and I have to ask you as well, in terms of your life of service, what, how do you feel when you see people changing their lives? You know, because like we were talking about His divine grace being an instrument of God, you are an instrument as well. It's not just about you. God is working through you to help other people. But when you see them changing their lives and becoming better people, becoming happier, healthier, all of these things, and maybe beginning service of their own, how do you feel when you see that process happening because you have helped them or God has helped them through you? Does that make sense, my friend, what I'm referring to with that question, please?
Yes, see, there are two ways by which you can serve. It's not necessary that one has to be a full-time monk in order to serve to begin with. One can be one can be pursuing one's own business, one can be a householder, one can be a housewife, one can be a teacher, one can be a businessman, one can be a student, one can be doing anyone's profession. Krishna himself, he has spoken Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, who was a military commander. He was on the battlefield. So Krishna told Arjuna to remember him and fight the battle. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Yat karoshi yat asnasi yat jugosi tadasi yat tapasyasi kauntaya tat purusham, which means that whatever you do, whatever sacrifices you do, whatever austerities you do, do it as an offering to me. So it's not necessary that one has to be a full-time monk to be. That is the first aspect. And anyone can be a practitioner of spirituality. He or she can be in any profession. They can be they, they can be, well, they can be students, they can be old people, at any stage of life they may be. The practice of spirituality is open for everyone, and one can be poor, one can be rich, one can be irrespective of caste, creed, religion, or sex. One can practice spirituality. So the spirituality is open for everyone. So as far as when people practice spirituality, they get transformed. There is no doubt about it. Irrespective of which caste, creed, religion, or sex you belong to, as soon as you sincerely and genuinely practice spirituality, the transformation is guaranteed, because that is what spirituality speaks about, and one can experience it. The first and foremost way by which one can experience it is by realizing one's own connection with God. One can experience one's own connection with God, and also one can see others as part and parcels of God. We are speaking of compassion. The act of compassion, it begins with seeing others as part and parcel of God. Secondly, and thirdly, we can understand what God wants us to play. In what way does God want us to play our role in His mission? God has a mission for everyone. God has a mission for which He wants to accomplish. So, and He wants us to be a He wants us to be He wants us to play some role in His mission. So we can, within our own capacity, within our own means, within our resources, we can become an instrument in His mission. So we can get an understanding of that as well. So three things. First, knowledge of God. Secondly, how we are connected to God. And thirdly, what role does He want us to play? And once one gets understanding of all these three things, naturally one gets satisfied, because one finds some meaningfulness towards one's own life.
That is a wonderful message, my friend. And in the world as it is today, so many people are searching for this, so many people, we have more material things than ever before, but so many people are searching for answers. So this is why I choose to do this. I'm trying to be an instrument of God as well by sharing messages like your story today as to why you do this to help other people. Yesterday, I was speaking with a Christian minister, a Baptist minister, and I was telling him about ISKCON and about the Hare Krishna movement and everything, and he was amazed because he had never heard it. He said, "Oh, this sounds very much like things in the Bible," and I was saying, "Yes, yes, whatever path we're on, we can all work together." It's a very, very powerful message. But I also would like to ask you as well that when you meditate and chant, I originally learned chanting from the Buddhist methodology, but in more recent times, I have come to understand the chanting mantra meditation. And I've heard from a number of people, members of your organization, that you can chant up to 2 hours per day, they tell me, about the beads, the prayer beads. And I think that for anyone who is not familiar with this kind of thing, the meaning of the chanting the names of God is very, very important for people to understand. And I would like if you could share a little bit about the meaning of your chanting and how it works, why you do it, this kind of thing. Because if people are hearing for the first time, I think that it's a very valuable spiritual lesson to share with them. So, would you mind, please, to share with us a little bit about that? Thank you so much.
Yes. Chanting names of God is there across all religions. Even in Christianity, they chant on rosary beads. They call it rosary, right? Rosary beads. They chant on rosary
Yes.
beads. And in Islam, they chant 99 names of Allah. Mm. So in our tradition, in the school of Bhakti tradition, we also chant names of God. So we chant when we chant, because that gives pleasure to God. In different ages, different methods have been prescribed which are most effective. कृते यध्यायतो विष्णु त्रेतायां यजतो मखै Vaparyaya sa parichayirya kalo tadhari kirtana. These are Sanskrit verses. What those verses which I am quoting, these are verses from different scriptures. So this verse is also found in one of the Vaishnava scriptures, or Bhakti scriptures, which says that Priteya Dhyayato Vishnu. In there are all the ages are divided into four types. So Kriti, matlab in Satya Yuga. So in Satya Yuga, the most effective process was meditation. Tretayam Yajato Makai. In Treta Yuga, the most effective process was doing fire sacrifices. You might have seen in some of the Hindu traditional traditions, they do fire sacrifices, yajnas and fire sacrifices. Dwaparyayam sa paricharyaya, which means that in Dwapar Yuga, the most effective method was offering worship to deities or idol. Kalotadhari Kirtanat. In the age of Kali, the most effective means is by chanting names of God. So different names of God are there. So we chant the names of God which have Krishna, Hare, and Rama. Then we say Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. As you're saying, we chant at least 22 hours a day, at least 2 hours a day, maybe more. So we chant every day as a sadhana, and I have been doing this from the past 20 plus years, 21 years, around 21 years. And at least I have been chanting for 2 years every day for the past 21 years. So when we chant, we try to meditate on the meaning of this mantra. We try to meditate on the sound vibration. We try to meditate on the sound vibration and offer a prayer to God, whom we also call as Krishna, that my Lord, kindly engage me in service. My Lord, oh divine energy of the Lord, kindly engage me in your service. So this is the prayer which we offer while meditating on the names of Lord.
I understand. It's beautiful. I have heard the chanting a little bit, and I have also heard singing as well. I have seen actually members in the street where I come from, because I come from UK originally. I am a British guy, and now I live here nearly 2 years in Cyprus. But before that, when I was in the UK, I would sometimes see people singing, in the street and distributing food, these kinds of things, and it's very beautiful when you hear it. So I would recommend to our audience, if you get a chance to join in or to hear this, please do. But I have to ask as well, my friend, something that is about the purification, because if I am understanding this correctly, you are purifying your heart, your soul through the chanting, but you also must purify your body, because when I was reading about the beginnings in America, the story you were telling me when Swami came on the boat, he had two heart attacks, he survived. These things about like getting people off the drugs, off bad things, even tea and coffee and meat, everything to completely purify the body. And I think that whether people become a monk or not, to live in a pure way in mind, body, soul, in our hearts is very, very important. And in order to be a monk, you have had to give up a lot of things in a way, but you have gained many other things in a different way with the love of God. I understand that. But what would your advice be on how people can purify themselves with what they eat, what they drink, and what they consume mentally, because it's a very big process for you, and I would be most grateful if you could share a little bit of your advice for that, even not only for monks but for people in day-to-day life, if that makes sense.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes. Krishna speaks about it in Bhagavad Gita that One has to follow a balanced life. Balanced life. Yoga, the word yoga means connection with God. The word yoga means connection, plus means connection with God. So in order to become connected with God, Krishna speaks about being balanced in one's life. Yuktahara yuktachestasya karmasu. So he says that one has to be balanced in one's own work, recreation, sleeping, and eating. So these are the four things which Krishna mentions about it in Bhagavad Gita. So in order to be able to effectively practice spirituality, effectively get good results out of spirituality, to begin with, spirituality is very potent. Krishna speaks about it that by practice of spirituality, one gets a higher taste by which one can say no to lower taste. So even if one has some bad habits or some habits which are not detrimental for oneself, still one can practice spirituality. And once one becomes an ardent practitioner of spirituality, one can give up one's lower natures. So having said that, it is also important to say that if we make a conscious practice, if we make a conscious endeavor to also while practicing spirituality to also lead a life of sattva, that would be very helpful for our spirituality. So we as practitioners of bhakti, we follow four principles. We call them four regulative principles, which include no meat eating. We do not create violence. We do not create violence to other living entities. So a good practitioner is one who creates minimum violence to other living entities. So therefore, so that's one of the definitions of compassion. So therefore, we do not uh, create any violence to other living entities. And then we follow the principle of no illicit sex, no sex outside marriage, because sex is an offering to God, which can be used for procreating good children, and which will also keep one's own mind and senses composed. But then overindulgence is a problem that will not be helpful for one's spirituality. So that is the second principle. We also follow the principle of no intoxication. So because that pulls us again, that brings us into lower natures. And we also follow the principle of no gambling. So these are the four regulative principles. These four regulative principles are helpful to lead a life of sattva or goodness, which can which can boost our spirituality. Having said this, I would again what I want to mention that spirituality is very potent. So if one can practice spirituality, and the practice of spirituality will give us the strength to be able to say no to our shortcomings.
Absolutely, absolutely. It makes a lot of sense. And when you are engaged in acts of service, for example, we were talking earlier about the journey home, and Swami is one of your teachers you mentioned, and this incredible service I was reading about of feeding the poor children in India and the amazing work that he does, not only leading by example and being such an inspirational person, but also helping so many people. And when you engage in acts of service or people in your organization, is it like this, like feeding poor people and helping people to get closer to God through singing? And can you share with us a little bit? Because when I've spoken to other people, I have heard of like life coaching and guiding people through the Gita's teachings, and I have heard different types of service that people seem to do. And I would love to know a little bit more about it for you and for the other people in your monastery as to what you are doing in the community, because I think it's a beautiful thing. And I think if we talk about this, it shows people that anyone of us can do service somewhere, and there's always opportunities. Here in Cyprus now, there are terrible fires. There's wildfires because it's been so hot, and I see a lot of people doing service. We all try to help where we can. So I would like to talk more about the principle. of service, if that is okay, please, because it is also a valuable topic. Thank you very much.
Yes. So ours, as I was saying, our philosophy is centered around two things. It is centered around remembering God, serving God, and secondly, serving humanity with God as center. So these are the two basic things upon which our philosophy is based upon. So we serve God and we keep God as center. And while keeping God as center, we serve humanity in a mode of compassion as an instrument of God. So we offer different kinds of services. As you were saying, we offer services of being a life coach, being a counselor, being a practitioner of spirituality. We teach scriptures, we teach the message of God, and we teach it in a way which is practical by being a life coach. So we do this. And then we also, as you were rightly mentioning, we also feed millions of meals all over India, all over world, in fact, and within India alone, every day we feed 1.5 million meals. In our monastery, we every day we distribute 2,000 meals. So we do it. So now when we are offering meals, we are trying to uh, we consider that this meal is something which has been offered to God. And when once it becomes an offering to God, when once it is offered to God, then it comes out as God's mercy. So when it is offered to someone who is in need of it, so, and everyone is in need of God's mercy. So when it is offered to someone who is in need of it, then they get benefited by it. So this is the philosophy which we follow. So which we accept that this, yes, it is nourishing for our body, it is nourishing for our mind, no doubt. The food which we take, it is nourishing for our soul because it has been offered to God and it has come out as God's mercy. Therefore, it is nourishing for our soul as well. As I was saying, Krishna speaks about it that patram pushpam phalam toyam yume bhaktya prayachati. So he says that whoever offers a leaf, a flower, a water to God with devotion, Krishna accepts it, God accepts it. Once he accepts it, then it becomes mercy. And then once that is offered to someone else, then the other person also gets benefited by it and gets transformed by the effect of it.
That is amazing. That is incredible. I'm going to tell you a very quick story that you might find a little bit maybe amusing, but I am working here, as you know, from outdoor location. I have chargers on this phone, right? And I have three chargers, and two of them not working today. And my phone has been on 17% battery, and I have one charger now working a little bit. I ask them here, do you have anyone I can borrow? They say no. And I pray, please, can you help me to make this interview happen because I'm having so many technical problems. And here we are, we're talking now, even though technically it shouldn't be working because it's on 17%, it's holding on 17% very low. And I was worried before I got on with you because I thought I prepared everything, but it's not working. It happens sometimes. Am I going to be able to speak with you? And here we are actually speaking by God's grace, Krishna's grace,
Mhm.
because I asked for help and the battery power is holding at 17%, So that is a small example, and I wouldn't usually say things like that because, I have professional mindset. Whatever's happening in the background, I turn up, I do what I need to do, I do the interviews, I finish. But I thought I would tell you that story today as an exception because it's testament to um, to God's grace, to Krishna's grace, to help us make this interview happen, even though all of my technology was failing before. So it's just a little funny story for you that I wanted to share with you. He helps us in so many ways every single day, and most people don't even realize it. But anyway, that's just a little something. So when it comes to people who want to learn more about your movement in particular, and I understand that different religious faiths they have a lot of common ground. But if people want to learn more about your movement in particular, would you recommend, for example, reading some of the books that we've mentioned, the Gita, of course, Chant and Be Happy, Journey Home? I would like to get your recommendations for material, um, from your founder and from different people who, they are good sources. They are good, reliable sources. The material they have written is from God, is from the heart, is genuine. Um, if people wish to learn a little bit more about this, what would be some material you would recommend for them to read or to listen to or watch? Anything like this, please, that is the most useful. Thank you.
Yes, there are several ways by which we can learn. One good, prominent, best way is by getting in touch with a local center. We have our centers all over the world. We have 800, more than 800 centers all over the world. So there are many in UK as well. London has two temples, one in Soho Street and another is in Bhaktivedanta Manor. So similarly, different parts of the world, we have centers all over the world. So they can get in touch with one of those centers, nearest center, and they can learn about spirituality from those centers. That is one way. There is another way by which you can, as you were mentioning, we can read it from books. We can get an understanding from books. Bhagavad Gita as it is, and Srimad Bhagavatam. And then there are several other books. Our founder had written more than 60 books on spirituality. So they're all available on internet. You can get it from Bhaktivedanta Book Trust website, bhaktivedantabbt.com. Bhaktivedanta Book Trust, bbt.com. You can also read it online, vedabase.io. So you can get information from this. So these are some of the various different ways by which we can get connected with God. There are four ways by which we can get connected with God. Four prominent ways. One is, as we were discussing, chanting names of God. Secondly, associating with spiritually minded people. So that is, you can get connected with, so anyone can get connected with the nearest center, or they can also get connected remotely. There are many devotees, many spiritual practitioners who are offering spirituality through nowadays internet is all over the world, so they can get connected remotely, so that is also possible. So they are also most welcome to connect with us here at Kolkata. They can connect with our devotees as well. So association, B stands for, so A B C D. A stands for association, B stands for books. One can get books from bbt.com. So all Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and many other books. C stands for chanting names of God, and D stands for diet. So one can offer whatever one cooks, which is offerable, if it is offered to God with devotion, and if one accepts it as a mercy of God, then that becomes a practice of spirituality. So these are the four ways by which one can get connected with God. Four easy, simple ways.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And what I love about today's talk, my friend, is that everything you have shared is so practically applicable in the sense that when I make these interviews, it's important to me not just to people to listen and say, that was interesting, that was entertaining, but people can come away and say, okay, this makes sense, and I'm going to put that into practice in my daily life. I'm going to change my habits. I'm going to change my association, these things that you mentioned. I'm going to change my A, B, C, D, and these different things and make it better. Is wonderful. And also, if people would like any advice on these things as well, I imagine that they are able to contact you personally, because when I contacted you on LinkedIn, you are very accessible to guide people. So if people have any relevant questions, can they contact you as well?
Yes, I'll put my WhatsApp number here so they can get in touch with me. So this is my WhatsApp number.
Okay, wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you very much for sharing that as well, because the way that you are accessible in order to guide and help people is a wonderful thing. So, we have had a very nice talk today, my friend. I am truly honored by you making the time for this to share a little bit of your wisdom from your beautiful life of devotion and service to God and to all of humanity. And I sincerely appreciate that because I always say two things about the podcast format. One is through the talk we've done today, if we touch even one person to live differently, we have done our work. And I'm sure it will be more, but even if only one person, then we have done God's work. And also, it is timeless in the sense that I put these podcasts out there. I've been doing podcasts for 4 or 5 years now. And, somebody might listen to this today and enjoy it, but then somebody might listen to this a year from now, 2 years from now, at the time when they are ready to receive God into their hearts. And then maybe it will help them at that time as well, because the podcasting is a long term process. So I'm very, very grateful for you taking the time to do this. And I will say Hare Krishna to you and thank you so, so much.
I'm extremely honored and I'm extremely grateful for spending this evening with you. I hope the reader, I hope the viewers who are there, as you rightly said, even if one person gets benefited, I consider this to be a great success of our time and great success of our podcast. Thank you very much for inviting me, and thank you very much for being thank you very much for being with you, for allowing me to be with you.
It's my honor. It is my pleasure. And as you can see, I am holding the phone here, so it's a little bit difficult to bow, but I will bow as best I can this way, and I appreciate it very, very much. I will send this to you when I release it as well, so that if you have any uses your side, please feel
Yes, yes,
free
I
to.
will. Yes, I will also send it within my circle and within those whom I know. So you may send it. Yes, it will be helpful for me.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And I will promote it my side and make as many people aware as I can. I wish you restful evening. Hare Krishna. God bless. And we will
Alex,
speak soon. Hare Krishna.
yes,
Thank
let
you.
us be in touch. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to the Simply Inspired YouTube channel, and there'll be more videos coming soon.